Hey team, how's it going? Welcome to OD and Chill, episode 162. Wow, getting down with the episodes, hey. Yeah. I'm Dan, Head of SEO at OD. We've also got Jason, our Chief Search Officer. And we think we've got a pretty good presentation for you today. Chat between us two, some slides going on. We're going to be talking about some upcoming search changes that we believe are happening, and some of our testing methodology, I guess, to find these too. Last but not least, I think at the end of it, we'll tell you some of the bets we're placing as these search changes start to come in, and how we're preparing for the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
let's kick it off.
Cool.
All right. So, as per usual, just want to set the scene. If you haven't heard of the term AI, you must be living under a rock. But AI and ChatGPT, as you can see here from Google Trends, have been increasing in popularity synonymously, right? When you think about AI, ChatGPT is mentioned beside it, right? So if you move on to the next slide, please. Google has to compete with ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been in the press, usage has been skyrocketing, and Google sees this as a threat. So in 2023 at Google I/O, which is a big developer conference, they announced that they will be launching what they're calling Google SGE, Search Generative Experience. And let's watch a quick 2-minute video and have a quick recap on what that looks like. Go back one more and just click on the thumbnail. No. Can you control it? No, 2 seconds. Why not? Get the screen share. Go to slides. Slides. Two seconds, guys. Oh, something is home. All right. Let's do this. Here we go. We'll just take it over. Cool. Excellent. Where were we? All right, let's take a look at the first iteration of Google's response to ChatGPT. So where they called it Google Search Generative Experience. It's a quick 2-minute video. Let's go.
Search has been our founding product from our earliest days.
So let's start with a search for what's better for a family with kids under 3 and a dog, Bryce Canyon or Arches. Now, search does the heavy lifting for you. What you see here looks pretty different, so let me first give you a quick tour. You'll notice a new integrated search results page, so you can get even more out of a single search. There's an AI-powered snapshot that quickly gives you the lay of the land on a topic. Then if you want to dig deeper, there are links included in the snapshot. You can also click to expand your view, and you'll see how the information is corroborated. So you can check out more details and really explore the richness of the topic. Let's say you're searching for a good bike for a 5-mile commute with hills. In the AI-powered snapshot, you'll see important considerations like motor and battery for taking on those hills, and suspension for a comfortable ride. Right below that, you'll see products that fit the bill, each with images, reviews, helpful descriptions, and current pricing. Right under the snapshot, you'll see the option to ask a follow-up question or select a suggested next step. Tapping any of these options will bring you into our brand new conversational mode. In this case, maybe you want to ask a follow-up about e-bikes. So you look for one in your favorite color, red. Without having to go back to square one, Google search understands your full intent and that you're looking specifically for e-bikes in red that would be good for a 5-mile commute with hills. Craft the perfect social post to show off your new wheels, or even test your knowledge on bicycle hand signals. This new search generative experience, also known as SGE, will be available in labs along with some other experiments, and they'll be rolling out in the coming weeks. If you're in the US, you can join the waitlist today by tapping the labs icon in the latest version of the Google app or Chrome desktop.
Search has been our founding product from our earliest days.
All right, so pretty impressive, right? You can ask it a question and it will give you an answer, and will it bring you to the website that they got answers from?
I think the last
Absolutely not.
question I have there, Jay, is they said you can sign up at the end. Is that still up to date?
No, it's now available in public.
Nice.
So it's no longer in labs, it's out of beta, and it's now only available to logged in Google users in the United States. However, let's fast forward to 2024. They have rebranded SGE to AI Overviews. And similar to the announcement that they made in last year's Google I/O, they had a new presentation this year in 2024, showcasing what the updated version of their AI system or SGE looks like now. So let's take a quick look at it.
I got that swagger, I got the feel, I got that new thing. I got that extra, got the real deal. When I just do my thing, do my thing. I got that hustle, that straight up swag. I got that no thing. Do my thing, do my thing. Do my thing. Do my thing. I got the new stuff. No. I got the new stuff. No.
Why is the lever not moving all the way?
I got the new stuff. I got the new stuff. No. I got the new jam. I got the new jam. Yes, I do. I got the new stuff. I got the new stuff. No. I got the new stuff. I got the new stuff. I got the new stuff.
That is really impressive.
It's leveled up as well.
It has leveled up. I mean, if you are a user of ChatGPT, this is very, very different. You don't get a vanilla text box and you're chatting to a chatbot that is just pure text. This is very, very interactive. It has many applications. But did you notice all the different searches that the users were using in their video? How long tail are they? How many words are they?
Like for a very specific question, isn't it? And we know from like our own searching data, looking at long tail queries, they're very specific to the user, aren't they? A lot of times.
And I think what's most important is that Google sees ChatGPT as a threat. Yes, they're taking market share away from Google themselves, but they are trying to make it more user-friendly, more applicable to the day-to-day user. It's portable across both desktop and mobile, and it's just going to make users' life easier. I think that's their main objective, I think.
Yeah, I think Googling is still a habit, right? Just saying the name Google in a sense instead of doing a search for something.
Yeah.
It's kind
Can you
of
imagine someone saying, let's ChatGPT that? This sounds weird. Oops. All right. So, what's this? Anyway, so Google began rolling out officially AI Overviews, or as the acronym stands for AIO, in 2024, May of 2024 this year. So at the moment, very, very important to remember that it is only available in the US market. The screen that you see there is just a little snapshot of what it looks like live right now in the US for a mobile screen. And on the next slide, which we'll go to right now, is for the desktop version. So you just have to, what I want you guys to know is that it's only available in the US market, but it is in Google's interest to have this rolled out to all countries, all languages as soon as possible, because ChatGPT is slowly taking market share away from them. Okay, but the rollout wasn't as smooth. I had a field day going through some of these when people were reporting that Google AIO was distributing or mentioning false, misleading, and dangerous answers when someone will ask me a question. Here's an example here. Cheese not sticking to pizza, and the recommendation here is that you can also add 1/8 cup of non-toxic glue to the sauce. I don't know about you, Dana. I'm not gonna eat glue.
Hey, non-toxic glue. That you said dangerous before. Non-toxic glue is technically not dangerous. So.
Fair. And then everyone's in a health kick at the moment in the office, and someone in the States searched for health benefits of running with scissors, and apparently running with a pair of scissors increases your heart rate and require concentration and focus. That is true, isn't it? You're holding a sharp item.
Like I said, they're both not wrong technically, but are they helpful? Is probably the $1 million question, and I think that's a safer answer.
Yeah. Here are a couple more examples. I don't know about you. Apparently, rocks. It's very healthy. It is recommended they eat at least one small rock per day. When are you going to start eating rocks, mate?
Oh, I don't know.
Even with mathematical questions such as this, right? What's the how many days are there between this date and this date? Even simple calculations like that, they seem to get it wrong. So there was a very, very big backlash when AIO was released to the general public, and lo and behold, searches for how to disable AI overviews in Google just absolutely spiked. People were unhappy with the results that they've got and stuff like that. And as a result, we did see a lot of reports that Google are dialing back the display of AI overviews so that they can get their house in order. All right, now that we have a good primer about what are we talking about, what AI overviews are and how Google is planning to roll it out, let's look at some interesting findings and stats that's been released in the last couple of months. So there are a lot smarter people in the world that do this for a living. And there are two main research that has been published by other agencies and other tool providers that provide tracking of this feature in Google. And we're just going to show you a couple of interesting facts. So the first research is from SE Ranking. So their research looks at 100,000 queries in the United States based on different niches and categories and types of websites. And what they have found that there's a stark difference of the amount of search results that trigger the AI overviews panel by default. So as you can see in this chart here, January of this year, there were 63% out of the 100,000 queries that were triggering the AI overviews. And then now there's only 8.71%, which is fairly low. So this is a clear indication that Google is rolling it back out, scaling it back, because the results weren't satisfactory. And that's probably why people are going to ChatGPT and other search engines. Using Google.
At least they took the feedback on, I guess. But when it gets dangerous, like eating glue, you kind of got no choice.
Yeah. So the next thing, if you are optimizing your website, if you are a fashion client, you're selling dresses, clearly AI overviews doesn't really impact those short to mid-tail queries. Majority of what triggers AI overview based on their research is between 7 to 10 words, as you can see here. So it's very, very long. And when we are doing keyword research, as we mentioned before, long-tail queries, they tend to yield very low search volumes. But if you think about being conversational, you wouldn't ask a bot maxi dress. You probably ask them a really long question. Hey, I'm going to a party that is this kind of theme, or I need a black maxi dress. Could you provide me with some recommendations? Or I want to dress like this person. Can you help style me?
They're very, a lot of the time, awareness focused, aren't they? Rather than someone's ready to kind of make that conversion or purchase action in a lot of circumstances. They're tossing up their options, which is consideration, or they're asking what is appropriate for something like a cocktail party.
Yeah. Through your own research, based on those key hit terms or short-tail keywords, have you managed to trigger an AI overview yet?
Look, we've got some spoilers to the later slides, but it's tough at the moment. It's really tough, and it kind of gives you insights into what's going to come to Australia, I think.
Yeah. Okay, another piece of research. This research was done by a company called ziptie.dev. So what they do is they provide technical SEO tools, optimization tools, and also research for hardcore technical SEO people. And their research is based off 500,000 queries in the US market, and you can see they've grouped those keywords by the industry. And obviously, Overall Digital being an e-com agency, e-com sparks my interest there. So apparently 86% of queries within the e-com sector is triggering Google SGE or AI overviews results there. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it'd be good to see that in comparison with looking at some of the specifics later on as well.
Okay, back to the SE ranking research. Same thing here. What they found, slightly less, based on their data set of 100,000 search queries in the US, the e-commerce and retail sector, it only triggered 12% of the time. So it's not very prominent, which is exactly what I've experienced when I was pulling some slides for this research. No matter the usual transactional queries that a client would be passionate about and wanting to rank well for, does not trigger an AI overview.
No, it doesn't seem to be worth it at this stage as well, because again, they're not conversational. It's just a person usually knows quite specifically what they want.
That sounds correct. All right, now, the million-dollar question, do ads show up with AI overviews? The short answer is absolutely. Everyone needs to remember that Google is an advertising company. They make their most money from ads. So obviously, they're going to prioritize ads over everything else. So this is, again, based on the 100,000 search queries. And what they found was 81% of those queries trigger shopping ads at the top of the AI overviews panel, right? And 10% of it, or 11%, just to round it up, is on the sidebar. And 7.5% is below the AI panel. So think about the above the fold real estate, how quickly that is diminishing.
It's kind of not contradictory, but it's funny that in all of those videos that you shared before as well, not a single ad when kind of demonstrating the product too, but that was definitely going to be the live state.
Yeah. So talking about real estate here, the above the fold real estate, it slowly diminishes. Right now, organic search, traditional 10 blue links is still visible above the fold, at least 1 or 2, 3 positions. But after SGE, after they prioritize ads and the SGE panel or the AI overviews panel, you can see that traditional search listings are losing its visibility.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen here?
Look, from a metrics perspective, some of your data and reporting might show that rankings look relatively similar. But what I think you'll find is that for these queries, if you're still ranking in a traditional spot and you are being pushed down like that, your click-through rate percentage will drop quite significantly.
Impressions will stay.
Impressions will stay, click-through rate will drop, and you will lose traffic because of this. Exactly the same when an advertising spot appears before an organic listing now. It's the psychology of how people view the web and how people view search, more importantly. Yeah.
Essentially, once AI overviews is released to the general public globally, expect a drop in clicks, maintain the same amount of impressions. Click-through rate is definitely going to be impacted. And you can see here, 38% of AI overview responses consumes more than 1,800 pixels. That's almost a full screen.
Should you be worried about that?
I think we should.
Yeah?
I think we should. But good news is, because we're in e-commerce, most of the transactional queries do not trigger these bad boys.
That's true. That's true. I think at the end of the day as well, Google is trying to do what they have done for a very long time, and that is keep users on their search engine for as long as possible until they're ready to make a decision about what they're searching. The prime example that I keep giving is when you used to book or buy flights, a few years ago. You'd go to Webjet, you'd comparison, and then you'd make your booking. Now you can do that within the search engine itself, but you still have to buy the flights from somewhere, essentially. So as long as you can remember that and you still provide a value rather than just giving information, I think businesses are going to be okay, even if it does start to take more prominence in e-com.
So what to expect? So impacted traffic and revenue, obviously, with Google, as you mentioned, they're trying to retain users within their SERPs as much as possible, as long as possible, because when the user stays on their SERPs, what happens? They make advertising dollars. There'll be new competitors that will pop out. So the traditional 10 blue links competitors are no longer. I mean, the whole Google AI overviews panel is being powered by a completely different algorithm. If you're ranking on page 1, does not guarantee that you'll be one of the recommended sources for the AI overview answer. So there'll be new competitors that we have to monitor, track, and reverse engineer to see how we can rank alongside them within the AI overviews panel. As I mentioned a couple of times already, I think search queries are just going to get longer and longer and more conversational, more ChatGPT style. Like, you're not going to get users searching for MAC addresses anymore. They're going to be asking very specific questions for a very specific need to get some answers.
If queries are getting more longer and conversational, it doesn't also mean that you need to match the answers by being more longer and conversational. I think we found in a lot of circumstances, simpler answers serve best, and Google loves serving simple answers. So, for example, we've got an example later on, but what is organic dog food? That's quite a long term. If you can answer something like that by organic dog food is, you will be rewarded. So don't believe just because queries are getting longer and more conversational that your answers need to get longer and conversational.
That is a good point. All right, now on to what we call the SERP showdown. So search engine result pages showdown. So just to show you guys a comparison of what's happening in the States versus what's happening over here in Australia.
I will touch on one thing before we start. This is obviously AU versus USA. Kiwi viewers, don't worry. The NZ SERPs are looking very similar to AU at the moment. So I should have put NZ in the title, but I apologize in advance. So what I have chosen to do here is take, I think, 4 or 5 examples of search results within Australia, show you what they look like, explain some of the SERP features, and then run those exact same queries within the US. I've tried to match this by search intent. So what you will see is navigational, informational, transactional, and commercial intent, with us obviously being e-com focused, having a couple of extra commercial intent related queries. So navigational, first and foremost, people looking for a website. So they're using a search engine to navigate to another website. One of the very common top level queries you'll see here, I've just done Sephora as a beauty brand for all of our beauty advocates on the pod. What you'll notice here is just to, I guess, highlight some definitions. Above the fold is what someone will see when they first open the page. Below the fold, you've had to scroll down a fair bit to see the next listings. Again, coming back to that psychology of search section where less and less people scroll down to their listings. So if you're below the fold, you're in danger of not getting any traffic. So what are we seeing? For the viewers in Oz and NZ, this will look very similar. We've got some ads at the top, a set of filter pills, which once you click actually change the search results at the top here. So they will take you to a brand new search query. The organic listing, while I say this is the first organic listing, it's almost halfway down above the fold, and I'm being very generous with the viewport at the moment, I'd say. Then your Google Maps with your second organic listings, and then the people also asked section.
Yeah, very vanilla type of search result.
Yeah, pretty normal. I'm not surprised. Something more informational, my what is organic dog food example, again, is being triggered with a featured snippet and some Google shopping ads on the right-hand side. Now, these Google shopping ads are a little bit different to our search ads from the first query. They are based on your merchant center feed and its performance there, rather than a search campaign in Google Ads. A featured snippet is designed to pull the correct information from a website, which, well, we haven't done some studies on featured snippets in a while, but it was a pretty high ranking search query.
That's exactly your answer to the previous question before. Google is after short, snappy, factual answers. And in this example here, the featured snippet, you can see it's not very lengthy.
No.
It answers the question straight up.
I think that's it's always been a good strategy to do that. My favorite bad example of this is recipes across the web. You know, open up a recipe and someone's giving you the history of the location of the pasta you want to make, and you're just like, no, please, for the love of God, give me the ingredients. So you can follow that mantra and not do what they're doing. I think you're in a pretty good spot. But
let's unpack this a little bit. Do you think featured snippets is actually position 1 in this instance?
Good question. I like to look. It's considered position 1 now, by all means. And you
can still click through to it
with the link there. I think you're right.
Because previously you can't. So they did mean a change to the feature snippet where you can see the full attribution of where they extracted the answer from, and it's definitely click through. So technically, they're not losing any traffic.
Yeah, I'd want to own this. Before, not the case. Sometimes not the case, because you're right. It was just a text, no link. You couldn't get the click. And usually, if you were ranking in position 0, you weren't owning any other top organic listing spots. But now, not the case. And then, just a lot of people looking to answer this question, some regular organic listings. Sweet. I'm going for something more commercial now, and I've changed up the industry again. I've tried to keep it very broad in these circumstances. Best washing machine. I'm sure we've all done a search like this when looking for especially higher price point items where getting a lot more information is important. You know, think of an $1,000 washing machine compared to a $20 red t-shirt. You want to do a lot more research. What's happening again? Some Google shopping ads, I don't think someone is ready to make a purchase when they type in something like best washing machine. So this is probably a bit aggressive by Google, but where they can place ads, they will place ads. What you're getting after that, I've refined the organic listings a little bit more here, but the first 2 that I think match the search intent of this very well are 2 third parties who don't actually sell washing machines. They are aggregators of a list.
So they provide recommendations.
They provide recommendations, exactly. The good guys after that is ranking for their product listing page, PLP page for short, as I put there. But I personally don't think this is what I'm looking for when I search for best washing machines. Cool. Something more commercial, and I've defined commercial in 2 ways this time. 1, commercial generic, which you can see our white sneakers keyword example, and then I've got commercial branded after this as well, because what I found in the US is they were showing very different things. So organic listings. Now, one thing that you'll notice here is that there's no ads to this. I don't think this is a common trend. I think this was something wrong with my viewport when pulling this. I couldn't seem to trigger an ad. The image pack afterwards. So once you click into this, it opens up Google Images. So it takes you further away from the shopping experience, in my opinion.
Can we unpack the search results a little bit? If you compare the website ranking position 1 versus ranking position number 2, looks like the image thumbnails are very, very different.
Yeah, it's usually due to kind of sizing and structuring challenges that they face on the website. We've been running into a lot of, work with our clients to start getting these triggered when they weren't. And a really fantastic way to do this is reverse engineer the sites that do have their images. Maybe they're correctly sized. Maybe they're uploaded the right way. Maybe they're loading faster. All of these things contributed to us getting these for our clients and getting the right amount of images. However, was there a silver bullet? I don't think we can say.
Yeah. And plus, again, still looks pretty vanilla and normal SERP to me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Much has changed.
Sweet. Some organic listings. Some more people also ask, and I've mentioned those image packs there too. This one, however, starts to get a little bit fancier. So this is our commercial branded. a Dyson Airwrap. While this is I'm not sure it's exactly a hairdryer, but it sits in the hairdryer categories according to Google. It definitely picks up here too. So I'm going to skip over the stuff we've talked about because I think we've talked about it enough. But our Google Shopping ads, and then this right-hand bar on the side is not an advertising platform. This is what we call free listings within Merchant Center, and it is pulling in the same Google Shopping data as your Merchant Center, but there's no cost to be there as well.
And it looks like it's curating stock and pricing from multiple merchants at the same time in that single one panel.
You're absolutely right. So you can see here when you go below the fold and you start to explore this shopping panel a little bit more, it's pulling in user reviews, and these are not user reviews from Google. These are user reviews from all of the sites aggregated together.
How do you think they're pulling the data? It's definitely from Google Merchant Center, yeah?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, and then how I know a lot of some people, if I'm a merchant, if I stock this product, do you think I should have the GTIN or the barcode, universal barcode listed in my product feed? Or should I use something custom, you think?
You need every single signal to tell them that your Dyson Airwrap product is a legitimate Dyson Airwrap.
Yeah, and the only way to do that is through the barcode, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Exactly
manufacturer
right.
ID.
Manufacturer ID. It's such a balancing act between having the unique signals that tell them you're legitimate and having enough unique content, etc., there to drive that conversion and separate yourself from the pack. But both serve certain purposes, and there's one that requires consistency, and there's one that requires creativity, in my opinion. Cool.
All right.
Let's
see
get
what's
into
happening
it.
in
So
America.
there are a few things in here that we want to look at. So again, navigational. I think this looked pretty similar in my opinion. I was struggling to trigger ads across the board here. That is not a reflection of the search results. It's probably just a reflection of me trying to manipulate search engines to get these results more than anything. But from a navigational perspective, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, in my opinion, it looks very similar. Sweet. This is the first one that we saw, and actually the only one that we saw trigger what you can all see at the top left, an AI overview for this as well. So while you can see that the featured snippet still exists at the bottom, which is, I'm not sure, I feel like these kind of two things do the same thing. The AI overview is the key top section here.
You can see now straight up, organic listing ranking number 1 is actually no longer ranking number 1. Hey,
Yes.
it's literally below the fold. They're even prioritizing Google people also ask boxes right at the top there, just below the featured snippet.
I've got an expanded view on this in the next slide, which I really want to talk about. And I do want to make note that even on something informational, they are pumping in organic shopping as well.
Wow.
We'll talk about in detail about this kind of later on because it's more prevalent in a few others. But to have that on an informational query really just, I think, shows you where Google's head at.
But it looks like even though if you rank really well in the traditional Tableau links, you're not guaranteed a listing within the organic Google Shopping panel, is that?
So this is what I want to talk about now. What I've done with this is I've pressed the button and expanded the review. You see it's providing a lot more information, and then the two sources that you can see here. I did a quick look for these sources within the traditional search results, and none of them ranked higher than page 3.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So it's not like you can come into the evolution of AI overviews and go, well, we have a position 1 ranking for this query already, where we're safe. Wow. It's just not going to happen. And obviously they weren't the same source as the featured snippet entirely. We had challenges when featured snippets started to become a thing and were the hot topic probably, 2 or 3 years ago now. We were running into the same problem where we were owning that number 1 position for a lot of queries and just could not get the featured snippet for the life of us. And I feel like it's going to happen as well.
Yeah. I think this is suffice to say that Google is using a completely different ranking algorithm for AI overviews.
Yeah, I think so too. So look, again, some kind of takeaways. This was the only AI overview slide, so I kind of brought these key takeaways up a little bit more. It's only triggering for these long tail searches, will be expanded to transactional queries in the future. What do I mean by that? Is when product widgets will come into the AIO. You saw it in the first video, and how they are doing that is with your merchant center as well. So yeah, I'm going to say merchant center a lot in this one. Absolutely. We talked about this, but authoritative content is going to be important. So what does that mean? It means you're a trusted source across the web. It is much more likely to represent, AI is much more likely to trigger for a vet who has been writing content for quite a while, links to reference sources, and lots of people use that as a trusted source on the web, rather than a mum of two who's just got a pet and is writing up a blog.
So let's just hypothetically speak, if we are optimizing or if we're selling organic dog food, right? If we saw that, a lot of people are searching for what is organic dog food, and we have an article or FAQ about that, answering that question, would it be more authoritative if Daniel Hopman wrote a short snippet answering that question, or someone who is clearly a vet that has an author profile page on the website that is on the payroll and is part of the product development team and stuff like that?
Yes, second one, absolutely. Things, not strings, is the definition I like to use. Google understands the context between people and pages across the web.
Yeah.
So the more of these quality signals, this is why a lot of websites have author bios on them as well, because it helps display that experience. So yeah, absolutely. Lots of people might get frightened if they're in an industry where they need to write this authoritative content. They go, wow, do I need to get a doctor to start writing all of this? No, what we normally do in these circumstances is we get one to fact check the articles that we have provided. And as long as they give the sign off, they're usually comfortable to put their name on it.
That's why most of these authoritative articles, like a Healthline, for example, where the author of the article may not be a medical professional, but it's being fact checked by someone within the team who is actually a doctor.
And you watch how they title that author bio within it. It'll be like medically reviewed by X. You'll notice it's never saying, yeah, I wrote this whole thing. Cool. Talked about that one. Best washing machine does look a bit different, doesn't it? So above the fold, I only picked because the remainder was just organic listings, which look normal. But what you can see here, the biggest change is what this almost sorting and filtering option that you can see.
That is an e-commerce PLP functionality, isn't it?
That's what it looks like, hey. But they're naming it something different to be sneaky. Like, they're calling it query refiners at the moment. And for anyone who wants insight into what happens when these trigger, once you click some of these, it will actually change the search query for you.
Right.
So for example, you can see on the left-hand side, I think there's like dishwashing as a button here. It will actually, when you click this, it will change what your search result is. So it will not filter the options live or dynamically. It will actually create a new search query.
That could be a source of long-tail queries that we could potentially mine and optimize for.
I think so too.
Because Google's not dumb. They wouldn't feature that option within the filters if it wasn't useful.
There are some studies that are aligning the IA work that we've been doing in the past with what they are triggering from these filtering options. So I think we've accidentally future-proofed ourselves a little bit, but I would definitely be looking at these to see how people are searching and create variation pages. What you'll notice here is that one kind of main thing is those comparison sources aren't taking that number one organic listing spot. Reddit is as well. What do you think about that?
Google loves Reddit at the moment, don't they?
Yeah. Well, they signed that partnership agreement,
didn't Reddit block Bing from crawling the site too?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So you will probably see a lot more of this, and there are a bunch of studies that are out, but Reddit is starting to own Google search dominance. Now, some people like this, some people don't. I am of the don't camp.
I'm the same.
I think you get too many rogue answers and none of that fact-checked information with Reddit. I know people want real human experiences and they probably don't want SEOs like us writing content on best lists anymore, sure, but I don't think a Reddit post from 5 years ago solves that, to be fair. Yeah. Cool. So this is some data from Kevin Indig. We love you here, Kevin. But it kind of shows what some of those search query refinements on the left-hand side look like.
What are the most common? There you go.
Men's,
Gender.
women's. So when you search for something like white sneakers, it would be men's or women's. And what you'll notice for the fashion retailers on this store, I would say 99% of fashion stores are sorted by men's and women's now. So it's clearly chicken or the egg, who came first, the Google searches or the information architecture that kind of covers this. I'm not sure, but yes, alignment of these two, I think, is going to be very important.
I think this is very important to help optimize your product feeds and your product pages now. You need to clearly articulate to Google that this t-shirt that I'm wearing now is for men's, or for women's, or for kids. You need to clearly specify that so that they can do the merchandising when users are actually refining the queries. Because if you don't have that information, how are you going to do it?
Yep, I agree. Super interesting one here. Sale is obviously big too. I think discounting is just getting big. Like looking at e-com in general, what we've noticed from all of our clients is that a larger and larger percentage of their yearly rev is coming from sale, peak season, all these areas. So if you're not preparing for that, definitely start. Cool. This is where it gets interesting, and this for the e-com peeps on the show, this is where it gets good. So what you'll notice here is that you're seeing the filtering and facets options, you're seeing the organic shopping grid, and organic listings are way, way down below the fold. Jay, tell me what this looks like.
This looks like your traditional e-com PLP.
Yeah.
You know what's most interesting? There are no ads.
No. Well, again, I'm kind of contradicting myself with this, because every time where I talked about not getting a lot of ads triggered before, but I ran multiple of these, have seen multiple of these, and the organic shopping is actually just taking a natural first spot. Will that last forever? I don't think so, but right now it is turning out to be a bit of a gold mine in the US.
Question for you. Right, let's pretend you're not an SEO. You're not in the digital space. You're just a normal bloke browsing for a pair of white sneakers.
Yeah.
If you land on these search results, what is more engaging? The thumbnails with the pricing, like a traditional PLP grid, or the number one listing there from the New York Times?
Oh, these ones at the top. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's what I need.
It's more engaging. They show you multiple images when you hover over them, and they've got your pricing, they've got your reviews straight up. So as a click-through rate factor, I think the organic Google Shopping panel is way more engaging.
Yeah. It's a little bit small for us. There's one more really important thing on this slide, and it's a little bit small for us while we're looking at this computer screen. So I hope it's bigger for everyone else. But look at this organic listing for Foot Locker underneath it.
Oh, what does it say?
It's giving the brand a rating of 4.5 stars.
That's not the product, right?
That's not the product.
So it's the store itself.
It's the store rating. So they are Google now, and you will actually be able to see this in Australia. I've been seeing it recently for a few of our clients, but they are pulling in your seller ratings. So Google takes an aggregate of your reviews for your business, not your products, across the web, and they are starting to show that in the search results to show that you are a trusted seller. And this is what it kind of looks like, a top quality score or a really high seller rating. So when you type in, unfortunately it didn't appear for the Sephora one, which was a shame, but when now you search for a brand, it can appear, this top quality score badge can appear. And so this is where Google is top quality scores and seller ratings are a little bit different. So a seller rating is just the aggregate of the reviews, but that can lead to a top quality score badge. But top quality score badges are if you've got really good shipping rates, solid privacy policies, returns, valuable returns, etc. there too. So you need to be providing a robust e-commerce experience to get and trigger these. One thing that I would like to make mention of, which would be really important for all the e-com people on the call, is that you can see that it's pulling evaluation by Google and other evaluation.
You can't game this then. I can't hire a bunch of people to just submit
No.
fake reviews to
But what this means,
manipulate this.
what this means though, if you've been generating a bunch of reviews for your business on Trustpilot or Yotpo, these count. And Google takes those into consideration.
How do you sync them up together then?
Google grabs them for you.
Oh,
Cool. So just coming back to this, obviously with some of our commercial sections, free listings is getting pretty important. I've got some guides for how this covers as well, but I think it's going to be incredibly prominent, and I'm enriching of the feed with as much information like we talked about is going to be the way to go. So any information that you have and that you can provide in the feed is going to add value and help you appear within these searches.
yeah. So no longer you can't just have the name, the image, the price, and maybe a single sentence about the description of the product and be content with it anymore.
If you're only looking at errors in the feed from now on and not just like the warnings and what's missing, you are falling behind essentially as well. Here's an example of a client that we are going to start running some tests on, where you can see they've got their main image link within the feed. This ticks all the boxes from a valid feed perspective. However, on their product page, they have 10 custom images. So why would you not include those as additional image links in the feed and enrich that even further?
So bottom line is, whatever Google Merchant Center allows you to populate, you should find every way to keep all the data as populated as possible and as rich as possible.
I agree. What I am gunning for with my clients to make sure that feed and product optimization is perfect is that I want enrichment and consistency across three things. One, this feed. Two, the product page itself. And then three, the schema or structured data.
Triple matching.
The triangle of success, I'm calling it. You can know, anyone can quote that. But essentially, if you can add as much valid information to those as possible, and they can all be saying the same thing, then that is going to be valuable. Another example of this is quite often reviews are loaded very late into the page via JavaScript. So Google, when it crawls your page, can only see the first 10, and you might have 1,000. If that says there's 10 reviews and then your merchant center says there's 1,000 and your schema says there's 1,000, there's a disconnect somewhere as well. So these consistencies are going to be very important. Commercial branded search didn't have that organic listing on that top grid just yet. I do believe it's because the branded search does differentiate things. And I ran this a lot with hair straighteners, hair dryers, and all of your commercial generic queries are looking similar to the white sneakers. Your commercial brandeds are a little bit different.
But there's still the related products. That's organic Google Shopping, isn't it?
Actually, no. So when I click and open these, it takes you to another search result for that product. So what it's doing is it's aggregating these items, but it's taking you to another search result like this. I agree with you. That's what I initially thought. Lucky I clicked it before I did this actually and didn't assume. But I do think that will change over some time as well. To break this down a little bit further, they're all Google searches and not listings. And even the people also search for at the bottom are Google searches as well. You can see there when I do related products, I've also changed these tabs. So you can see all of the Dyson related ones. It clearly understands Dyson. But when I go other, it's a bunch of what it considers closely relevant, but not quite the same. Hair straighteners, heated hair brushes, etc. there too. But a lot of product variations, and they clearly want people to, I guess, go to the products.
Cool. This is my time to shine.
Show me.
I'm the expert of maxi dresses. So in the States, when you search for a generic term or a keyword term like maxi dresses, we work with a lot of fashion clients, and a lot of people want to rank well for maxi dresses, right? Here, you see very, very different SERP features. And these are all organic. You don't pay for this. These are all generic, organic, Google Shopping related features. Styles pick for you. Clearly, this is based on personalization. Based on my browsing history, they're recommending similar looking dresses for me. I don't know why I'm looking for dresses, but okay. And then there's also this panel here for fast pickup and delivery. Very, very important. If you offer click and collect, make sure you annotate that in your product feed and feed it into Google Merchant Center. If you have fast delivery, 1-day delivery, same-day delivery, make sure you mark that up in the schema on your page. Make sure you mention it and make sure you include that in your product feeds as well. That is how Google is slowly slicing and dicing and picking the products to be featured here. Very, very important. You could be ranking in the traditional template links really, really well for MAC addresses, but all of these, once again, is taking the user's attention away from the traditional template links because they are just so engaging. And then there's also these two panels here, which are not exactly Google Shopping related, but they have panels for people also buy from. So they're recommending stores now.
Wow.
Right. And then explore brands. You can see that it's very, very prominent, this one. They are recommending Hello Molly, Pretty Little Things, and I can't read the other one. But below that, you see the carousel of logos. These are your entities. These are all powered by the knowledge graph.
Yeah.
So if you're a prominent and popular brand, work on making sure that Google acknowledges your brand as an entity and also synonymize your brand to the search term that you're searching for, which is fashion.
Kind of rings true to the Google leaks that came out a while ago and how important the brand was in there.
Brand signals are very, very important.
It's a pretty easy way for Google to determine if you're trustworthy, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Cool. That's what we want to talk about. It's a different ranking game, in my opinion. Things are changing where a lot of your core focus, if you sell online, needs to come from feed optimization, product optimization, where the goal or the sweet spot when it's come to SEO has been PLP optimization for quite some time there as well. Here are a lot of the things that we are doing. I talked about data points are accurate and connected. So
What does that mean?
Well, you've got a bunch of Google suites now. Analytics, Merchant Center, Ads, Search Console, and they're all Google-powered systems. A lot of them can be connected together to share information, share data, and show you what Google is.
Yeah, well, I think some of the recent clients that we onboarded, a lot of them do not have their Google Merchant Center synced up with Google Search Console for their verification purposes, and that's a disadvantage.
It's a starting point. Always start with good data. But yeah, I want to talk, I talked about providing as much information within that feed as possible. I talked images, but titles, descriptions, keyword usage where you can. Tell me about annotations, labels, and badges.
Yeah, so within Google Merchant Center, you can add labels, right? So if you offer same-day delivery, click and collect, and stuff like that, you can annotate and add those labels and badges and stuff like that. So as I mentioned before, whatever is available to you within Google Merchant Center, make sure it is populated with information.
Yeah. The information around product reviews, accuracy, price, promotions, discounts. I can't stress this enough. Because your feed is error-free, that doesn't mean it's great. Because your schema is error-free, it doesn't mean it's great. We had a client example where their product snippets started really struggling in Search Console. And remember, we found the image link was different. It wasn't broken, it was different, and just leading to the image link itself was leading to a 404 within the schema. No validator, no rich results test identified this. It just required some eyeballs and a brain to kind of check and figure those out. So yeah, make sure you are checking these things and keeping information up to date. If you improve your shipping thresholds for free times, unlock express shipping, then that should be displayed within your Google platforms as much as possible. Encourage users reviews. It's been a huge game changer. It's always been a game changer. It always will be.
It's an attention game now. You gotta attract the user. The search results are getting busier and busier, right? If you have reviews and you solicitate reviews and it's constantly flowing through the website, what happens is your star rating is just going to blow up, and users are going to be attracted to that.
They're just becoming a more, like outside of ecom, their star review ratings are just becoming a stronger signal in any culture now. Like you look at booking a hotel on booking.com and you always pick the ones that are high star rated. Uber Eats is the same thing now, or any food delivery options. If you see something too low, you're worried. I know when I book an Uber and if the Uber driver's rating is too low, you're like, oh, am I in trouble here in certain circumstances? So it's becoming a part of people's psychology, and that will not change with Google. Last thing, I think was, shipping returns policy is well marked up. We talked about that plenty. The seller ratings is a big one, and you will all start seeing that sooner rather than later. So make sure you are responding to good reviews, saying thank you, encouraging reviews across your platform in post-purchase flows, and delivering a good service more than anything. I think review management, it can only go so far if you don't provide the right customer service.
But does this usually sit with the SEO teams?
No.
Absolutely not. So a lot of these things now that's listed on the screen right here requires collaboration between team members.
Yeah.
Right. SEOs now need to work together with the marketing team or the performance marketing team to ensure feeds are well optimized. Right. Working with email automation people to make sure that email follow-up flows, post-purchase flows are all up to speed and all synced up correctly, and it's all flowing into Google Merchant Center, and everything's all intertwined. So it's no longer an SEO responsibility to make sure that the business thrives in the SERPs. It's a collective and collaborative effort moving forward.
I think so too. And that kind of brings us to, I guess, our mindset that we are bringing to SEO and just ecom, search moving forward. Look, organic shopping, you could clearly see, is way more prevalent than AIO. Although AI got the buzz and all the articles about it, and I definitely have had more questions about that than the shopping section. If I'm not placing too many bets on it at this stage.
I think from a commercial standpoint, AIO is not a threat to any e-com merchants at this point in time. It might change in the future. We don't know what we don't know. But at this point in time, I agree with that statement. I think the focus should be more on organic Google Shopping rather than AIO.
Yeah. With that, on organic Google Shopping, we've talked about the feed a lot. The custodians of that for a very long time has not been the SEO team. It's been the marketing team in a lot of circumstances. So collaboration between these channels is important as ever. And as retailers who are potentially on this call, if you have a separate SEO agency and SEM agency and you haven't offered to share that data between them, then it's you're shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion. Last thing that I will mention, which is I think the foundation of SEO, but really important, is that a testing mindset is so important when it comes to these things. Search changes are coming, and from all of this, we are making assumptions on what has worked based on our testing methodology, but that could change in 3 months' time again. So continuing to tweak, improve, optimize, and think like a scientist when you roll out these changes is, I think, one of the best mindsets to have to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, because it's ever evolving scene at the moment, right? So the SERPs are constantly changing. Like in the States, it's really changing almost every single day. Screenshots that we took months ago is no longer the case.
I know
now.
We've had to redo this about 3 times to clients and you guys, because it just keeps changing. Cool. I think we're done and dusted. Let me open the dash and see if we've got any questions.
No questions.
No questions. I guess we presented so well, which is fantastic. Cool. Well, then we'll sign out, but thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Jason and I are just a LinkedIn message, or if you are a client, an email, Slack away if there are any questions following up. And best of luck as these SERP changes come to Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, it will come. Thanks, guys.